The key points I made was the travelers experience racism, and we have to look at it from a state point of view. State over the years have tried to settle travelers and assimilate them, and it continues not to provide properly through the trespass law, which prohibits travelers camping on private or public ground, through the denial of traveler ethnicity, but also through other ways. I mean, the continued lack of support for travelers to access second and third level education, which I think is absolutely crucial. And then I kind of looked at the whole issue of what is racism and what is racialization. I think travelers have been racialized by the Irish, who themselves have been racialized by the English and in the country of the diaspora. And racialization is basically giving features of racial superiority to dominant groups, and to the subordinated group giving features or assigning features of inferiority. And part of the problem, and Thomas McCann related to it as well, is that subordinated groups tend to internalize their racialization. And once you internalize your racialization, you take part in your oppression. I mean, you're oppressed by the general society, but you actually don't take the full opportunity that you might have. And the cost in the case of travelers, as Thomas McCann spoke about, would be mental health problems and drug use, and also increased suicide levels. I think the point about recognizing traveler ethnicity, we must realize that it's not really only about identity, it's also about strategy from which travelers can conduct an anti-racism struggle. But I'm suggesting that in the future, travelers go beyond concentrating on the question of whether they are an ethnic group or not. We've had this debate, and it still continues, and lots of people still don't agree. I think we need to move toward the next stage, and travelers have been absolutely pioneers in the anti-racism struggle, but I think the next stage will mean constructing solidarity networks and making traveler issues visible without shame and without any embarrassment. Put traveler issues there all the time, out there in the public domain, and make the media take account, because it's gone under the radar, particularly now during the recession. Really, nobody wants to think about travelers. They don't want to think about immigrants or about racism, but travelers are really going to be under the radar. And I'm kind of taking my cue from the Bedouins in Israel, who are doing precisely that. Even though they've been completely discriminated, shoved from one place to the other, their unrecognized villages demolished, they have constructed solidarity networks with Israeli Jews and with Israeli Palestinians, and together they're challenging their discrimination, and they are putting their issue there and becoming both visible and working through solidarity.